Pope Sergius III, serving from 904 to 911, the murderous pope. Traveling back to the Dark Ages with Sergius III, a pope who literally murdered his way into office. He ordered the strangling of rival popes and reaffirmed the infamous Cadaver Synod. Yes, the one where a dead pope's corpse was dug up and put on trial, and went on to rule Rome like a mob boss. Gee, I wonder where the Italian mob got its ideas.
Do it.
He also may have fathered a son with a noblewoman. That son later became Pope John XI, because apparently nothing says holy succession like papal dynasty born out of murder and adultery. Seriously, Sergius III may be proof that sometimes the papacy was less Holy See and more Game of Thrones Vatican edition. Number 4, Pope Boniface VIII, serving from 1294 to 1303, the arrogant tyrant. Boniface VIII was the kind of pope who thought humility was a sin. He claimed absolute power, demanded obedience from kings, and even declared that submission to the pope was necessary for salvation. If papal ego were an Olympic sport, Boniface would have swept the gold. Boniface became pope after convincing poor Celestine V to resign. He then had the elderly ex-pope tucked away in a castle where he conveniently died. Cue centuries of suspicious side eyes. Once in charge, Boniface strutted across Europe like a Renaissance WWE villain, excommunicating enemies, grabbing land, and waging war with the Colonna family. But his biggest showdown came with Philip IV of France. When Boniface tried to stop kings from taxing clergy, Philip snapped back with financial blockades and propaganda. Boniface escalated with Unum Sanctum in 1302, a bull declaring papal supremacy over all humanity. Subtle it was not. Philip's response? Send a hit squad. In 1303, French agents and the Colonna stormed Boniface's summer pad at Anagni. The Pope was smacked around in the infamous outrage of Anagni. Legend has it that Sciarra Colonna even slapped him. Boniface was rescued, but the humiliation broke him. He died weeks later, proof that sometimes pride really does go before the fall. Sure, he gave us the first Jubilee in 1300 and a few legal volumes, but history mostly remembers Boniface VIII as the Pope who tried to bully Europe into submission and got a royal smackdown instead.
Oh my God! McIntyre with a claymore to the referee!
At last we arrive at number 10, or the 20th Pope in this lineup, Pope Paul IV, serving from 1555 to 1559, known as the anti-Semitic Pope. Paul IV was basically the church's version of a medieval supervillain. His papacy combined hatred, paranoia, and flair for cruelty. If there was a wrong side of history, Paul made sure to be on it. He shoved Jews into ghettos, forced them to wear identifying badges, and stripped them of rights. Cruelty that was centuries ahead of its time in the worst possible way. One might think Hitler got his inspiration from the Pope. Politically, he hated Spain with a fiery passion and provoked unnecessary wars, and then lost those wars. Spiritually, he ramped up the Inquisition into a full-on reign of terror. He even denounced the Peace of Augsburg, which at least tried to keep Protestants and Catholics from tearing each other apart. That went over so well that it resulted in an inevitable crisis, where just a few years later we had the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre. Catholics across Paris took to the streets, murdering any Protestant they could find. This, of course, spilled over into nearby towns, and in one eyewitness account, Catholics murdered an estimated 70,000 people and tossed the bodies into the river. Yeah, it's no wonder that Protestants hate Catholics so very much.
I'm literally angry with rage.
And if that wasn't enough, the Pope had nephews he promoted for their advice, which was usually, "Uncle, let's ruin more lives."
I'm looking forward to completing your training.
In summary, Paul IV, the Pope who turned prejudice into policy, war into a hobby, and the papacy into a villain's lair. The only thing confusing about this list is how still so many people can claim that this is the seat of holiness in all the land.